How you doing, Courtney? I listened to your video regarding women and weaves, and I had something that I wanted to point out that I think is missing in your post regarding black women wearing weaves, and that is, I think a lot of black women, they wear their hair, their whole image, that they portray, is because of the white supremacist society they live in. Um, Although, I mean, but I think by and large, the reason why women wear, the weaves and the fake, contact lenses, the blonde hair, or things of this nature, I think it's just a way to, I mean, with black people in general, I mean, we've been having to try to conform and assimilate into this white supremacist society we live in. So, so I don't really blame black women for wearing weaves and all these things, because we're having to conform to this, pretty much give up our own black culture to adopt the white culture, and we're pretty much forced to do this living in the United States. Um, you know, America seems to be what white people seem to have a problem when black people are their real natural selves. They tend to be a little intimidated, or if a black woman has an afro, or a black man has braids or dreads, that's kind of considered militant to white people, and they're kind of intimidated by that. In America, they tend to like their black people watered down versions of black people. So, um, so I think it's more about assimilation, and also to no, I mean to correct that. It's assimilation and self-hatred as well. So it's basically two things combined, that we hate ourselves because of this white society we live in. So we hate ourselves because we've been taught to hate ourselves. Living in this society, it really makes one hate yourself. And I don't really blame that on black people. Me as a black man, I don't really blame the black community for this. This is hundreds of years of brainwashing and whitewashing that taught us to hate our skin, our hair, our very being. I mean, everything we do, how we talk, how we dress, how we communicate with each other, everything. We've been taught that it's negative, and the only right way is the white way. So, so me as a black man, that's when I look at black women, I don't really, I don't take it too serious, as far as them, their image, how it's portrayed in the way it is, because I see the big picture. I always look at the big picture of things, and I don't look at it as something as simple as just them, trying to dress a certain way uh, to to appease anybody in particular, or just like you said about it being a thing of convenience, whatever the case may be. I'm looking at the wide, broader picture, and that is, it's a society we live in, and I think that is missing. And I don't really attack, a particular group. Specifically, I'm speaking about black people because I'm black myself, and this, situation is regarding black women and them wearing weaves or whatever. But I think the piece that you failed to touch upon, or I don't know if you didn't really think about it, or that's you wasn't going that deep, whatever. But I think that there's a small piece that was missing, and I really do believe that it's really about the society we live in. And even black men, we have to conform as well. It's not just black women, but it's more pronounced with black women simply because of the because she's a woman, and the image that women have to portray is a lot more pronounced for men. So like me, I have short hair. I don't have to worry about all those things about putting anything in my hair or all sorts of stuff. Yeah. If I had braids, which I did at one point, and but that's something that I had to really consider and think about, and say, well, I want to be portrayed as a professional, which that's what I am, and I felt that if I had these braids in my hair, then I would be taken seriously, I would be stereotyped, all these other things, So there's because things that we have to worry about as black people that white people don't have to worry about because they are the standard by which other races are, compared. So that's why I really look at it and say, you know what, it's not really about, some of the things that you spoke about. Some of it is true, but I still think by and large, it's really more about the society that we live in. And also too, I do think self-hatred goes hand in hand with the society we live in. So you have living in America where all these things, you go to the workplace, and if you decide to be yourself, people kind of question it, and you might get, I mean, you get discriminated against, obviously. And not to say that if a woman wear a weave, and or a man wears hair like this, doesn't mean he's not or she's not going to be discriminated against, because at the end of the day, you're going to be black. So if you have somebody who doesn't like you because there's the color of your skin, because you're black, then no hairdo is going to change that. But I'm just saying, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, is it really about just that? What you were talking about. And I think it's much deeper than that. So that's why I kind of, raised the bar a little bit and said, well, no, wait a minute. This is another piece that we need to try to talk about. And I think that's really more the underlying issue is more than that. Because I can guarantee you that if this country didn't have a problem with black people in terms of how they present themselves and how their image was portrayed, I can guarantee you that most black women, if not, all of them, would have no problem wearing an afro, wearing the hair natural, dreads, twists, all those other things, and black men wouldn't have a problem wearing braids and and dreads and all those other things, because we wouldn't have to be worried about how white people perceive us in the workplace or out in the street. Cops won't be profiling us based on how our hair looks and what clothes we wear and all those other things. But that's not the case. So that's why black people have to be mindful about how they wear their hair, and black women and black men have to be worried about how they wear their hair, and how they portray themselves and how they dress and all sort of stuff. So I think it's more about the society that dictates how black women wear their hair and their whole image, in general, because they have to be concerned. If they go to a job interview, is somebody going to look at that, that afro or that natural hair as being militant or just simply a fashion statement? But most white people question it. Well, why are you wearing your hair like this? In their own mind, they probably won't say it to your face, but I think that's a real important piece that you left out, and a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't really talk about that big issue, the society piece, where living in a white supremacist society has changed how us black people how we behave, how we look, how we talk, walk. I mean, you name it. It is definitely a factor. And I never really hear people talk about it a lot. I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about all these things about how black people, black men and women, how we conduct ourselves, how we talk and walk and all this other things. But I'm like, well, wait a minute. How do you think we came to be that way? And nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how we came to be, to dress the way we dress and all this other stuff. And everybody just focuses on everything else other than the underlying issue, which is living in a white supremacist society where we have to conform and stuff. So I think it's more about assimilation and yes, that self-hatred. But again, where does that come from, though? Where does that come from? You know what I mean? Just like Malcolm X said, who told you that your hair was nappy and ugly and all this other stuff because it's kinky and all this stuff? Who told you your skin was your dark skin was disgusting and all this other stuff? So we were taught these things, you see. So that's why I'm kind of talking about where it comes from. What's the origins of us hating each other and all this other stuff? I don't think it comes from us. So that's why I don't blame black women or black men or black people in general. I don't blame black women for wearing weaves and all this other stuff and wearing contact lenses that lighten their eyes and wear blonde wigs and all that other stuff. After we're bred for this, for like when we're children, watching TV and magazines, all the the media that tells us the standard of beauty is Eurocentric. So what I think black women try to emulate that because they think that that's what would make them assimilate more. And also too, they think also too, that's what black men like. So a lot of interracial relationships going on. So a lot of sisters are seeing a lot of black men with black women. So they're like, well, okay, well let me try to, what I mean, try to look like a little white. So maybe that'll attract, what I'm saying, the brothers. But that's not really, what's really the situation. You know what I mean? It's like if, because I prefer, a black woman who has natural hair. But that's not to say that I will not. I don't have anything against a black woman with a weave. It doesn't bother me because of the things that I just previously talked about. So I just learned to deal with it, and I understand why they're doing it. So that's why it doesn't bother me when they're wearing weaves. I treat them the very same. But there is something to be said about a black woman who wears natural hair. I really do find that very attractive. And I love it. And, I mean, I go as far as to compliment black women when I see them wearing natural hair, and I make it a point to, because I want them to know that I do notice them. I notice the fact that they're wearing their hair natural, and and to me, it says a lot about them, and how they don't care about what other people think about them, about what society, this society we live in says about them looking natural, and I appreciate that, and it really tells me that they're very confident, very strong, on all those other things. So in ending, I basically just wanted to point that out to you, and let me know what you think about what I said, and if you agree or disagree. I'm fine. I can agree to disagree if you don't, and if you want to add something, then I'm all ears, because I just wanted to point that out, and there's some other things that I'll probably discuss in the future too. I'm just started this channel, whatever the case. And I'm looking through a few videos of yours, very profound things you're covering, and also the brother that you work with. Let me see, what's his name? Let me get my iPad right quick. I liked what he was saying in some of his videos, and I basically looked at his videos. I think he's your colleague, and I liked what he was saying. So I actually I subscribed to him, and then I found your video in his activity. And I liked what the brother D-Dan Tolbert, D-Dan Tolbert, yeah, that's his name. And the brother had some good stuff to say, man. I was really feeling what he had to say, so I was like, I got to subscribe to this brother. And then I found you. I said, this sister, she's saying some serious stuff here. So I said I subscribed to you both. But I'm going to be probably responding to some of his videos and probably more of yours in the future. But anyway, that's all I have to say now about that. If you want to respond to this video, definitely do. I really prefer you respond via video. If you can't, then text is fine, but I really prefer video, so I could really, have the whole thing, conversation flow if possible. Okay, so nice talking to you, Courtney, and I'll see you around.